You despite an unfortunate homicide last night, what is the data telling you, Chief Barnes, about violent crime and homicides in the city this year?
Thanks for asking. The data is telling us that homicides are decreasing, violent crime is decreasing, the number of shots fired are decreasing in our city. It tells us that we're doing something right, which is engaging with our community. But we're doing more than that. We're trying to work with other city departments. We're trying to work with other neighborhoods, civic groups, community groups. We're really trying to put together a more holistic approach to the way we respond to some of the issues of crime, disorder in the city. And I think it's going to pay off. We're certainly in the beginning stages, I think, of what it is that we're trying to do. We still have more strategy to put in. We've moved some people around and things of that nature. And so I really believe that we're headed in the right direction. You're going to really see the city change, the feel of the city. I've been told from people, feels a little bit different. The officers are very optimistic about the work. They like the direction. They like being able to go out and kind of problem solve and use some of their talents and skills.
Yeah. What I think one of the big questions people in Seattle have is what is driving this decrease in violent crime?
Well, I think the answer is collaboration and cooperation. Police officers, police departments can't do it by ourselves, but we can do it if we work really hard together with other people. I think, working with our justice system, making sure that people are being held accountable, those persons who we do arrest, I think it makes a tremendous difference. But overall, I think we're seeing that the quality of life in Seattle is improving.
Yeah. And you see a line between increased police enforcement, prosecution, community programs. You see a direct line there.
Yeah, there's a direct line because we're talking about the entire criminal justice system all working together, making sure that people are being held accountable for when they hurt other people or when they're illegally carrying weapons and firearms, working with all of our partners to ensure that we bring the best possible case to the prosecutors, and I think that's a big part of it as well.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Real-Time Crime Center, which recently came online. What are your first impressions then, now that that's been up and running for a little while?
Yeah, I like it. I'm certainly proud of the department for putting that together. Prior to coming here, I was able to create one down in North Carolina, so that was probably maybe almost 10 years ago. So real-time crime centers are not really new to policing, maybe new to the area, but it really is a force multiplier for us. Obviously, we do not monitor the cameras 24/7. We don't have the staff to do that, nor could we do that. I don't think that's a good use of resources, but it does aid in investigations. And I've seen investigations, whether it was assaults, stabbings, shootings, or even a car theft I saw. We were able to get justice for people who were victimized and return a vehicle to someone who had that vehicle stolen.
I mean, we've heard the concerns, of course, at council, and as this was all being approved, about privacy. Are you confident in the guardrails that are placed around RTCC that it won't be abused, or even that it will end up in the hands of the federal government?
Yeah, so when we talk about guardrails and we're talking about what it will do, number one, people should know that it is not police officers who are watching the cameras. It's analysts, and they're all civilian trained analysts. If a police officer needs to look at something, he or she or they have to fill out something like an affidavit, if you will, detailing why they need to look at it, and then the analyst will determine whether or not what they're looking for is available and then provide it to them. So I think sometimes people get a little confused about what it is, and we say here in Seattle CCTV, but for me it's public space cameras. It's cameras that are in public space. We have the technology to blur out anything that's in the background that may intrude into someone's private area. So I think that's good. In regards to the federal government, I've heard that argument before. I've not seen where the federal government comes in and says, we want this piece of this tool that you have and we're going to use it for whatever reason there may be. But if that were to happen, we can always shut the system down. We can always cancel the contract, and then there would be nothing for them to look at as well. There's always a possibility, but what your listeners, readers, folks should know is that you have a police department that certainly understands the values and the thoughts of our community. I think that's very important that people need to know that, because my presence here, my staff's presence, we understand what Seattle wants. And it used to be a time where the federal government would be those persons as the guardrails to protect. And now we're seeing sentiment change a little bit. And so it's important that people know what type of police department that you actually have here in Seattle, and that we're willing to do whatever we can to ensure that our morals, our values, the things that people pay for with their generosity of their tax dollars are done.
Yeah. And I think along those same lines comes the topic of recruiting. And the city had such an exodus, and then it was just such a crawl to even get back to where we were hiring more than we were losing. How do things stand with recruiting right now?
Things stand very well. We're getting some very qualified people. Just today I had an opportunity to speak to our Before the Badge program. These are young officers who are not yet ready for the academy, but they're going through some kind of indoctrination, if you will, into our police department. So it's a great group, very smart group. Have some former teachers in there, military veterans that are in there, people from other countries, speak multiple languages. It is a very impressive group. But we have hired about 120 new officers year to date. And that's probably more than we've ever hired in the history, recorded history, of the police department. Maybe back when we first started, we brought in a bunch of people, but we haven't had that type of hiring in a very long time. And that's to the credit of all of our staff, our recruiters, our background investigators, and of course our HR department that are able to get people in. And we expect to see that continue. We expect to see the applications continue as we bring in. We have a very competitive package, one of the highest in the state. We have bonuses. We have bonuses for our laterals as well. And I think people are understanding this is a great place to work again, and we're getting some good people come in.
There's sort of been like almost crisis level staffing at some points over the last few years. As those new recruits come online, are we going to see a difference in how police are able to respond to calls in the city?
Yeah, you can do more with more. And the more people we have to come in, and it takes some time to get through training, to get through field training, to get fully ready to go. As you see people coming in, my focus is to make sure that we can fill those vacancies in our patrol units, that we can make sure that we can investigate some of our most serious crimes and make sure that everyone feels supported in the police department. But we're getting them in, we're getting them through. It's a lot of work. I have to mention our field training officers. They're working overtime. They are responsible for making sure that all the check marks are done and that when they are out on their own, that they're able to serve a community without supervision.
Yeah. We talk about progress, but there still are some areas of the city that are it's hard to look at and say there's been progress here. CID comes to mind, 12th and Jackson, portions of Belltown, which are almost it's hard to believe there's that much drug dealing going on in public. But I mean, for these spaces who feel like in Chinatown, in Belltown, who say we don't see much progress, what do you say to folks in those areas?
I think areas that have been ongoing challenges require ongoing solutions, and ongoing solutions require consistency. And so that's what we're trying to bring to the city. When I talk to people, they see an improvement in 12th and Jackson. They see an improvement in Belltown. All of these areas are priorities, not only for the police department, but for Mayor Harrell's administration. We talk weekly, probably almost every other day, with someone from the mayor's office, the mayor team, about these particular areas. Always problem solving, always looking for ways that we can continue. How can we be more consistent? How can we add more resources? Who can we partner with? These are conversations that probably I say every other day, but probably every day we're having conversations with either me or someone on my staff about these particular areas. I don't know, the total history of what we've done in these areas, but it's hard to imagine that we've ever had so much energy, so much consistency placed on areas that have traditionally been ongoing challenges for our city, and we hope that we can continue that.
Yeah. Anything you're looking for from the legislature in their session this year?
Just looking for whatever support they can give the men and women of the police department. Obviously, we have a budget that's coming up. We have some budgetary issues, and they're going to be a big part of that, hoping that we can continue to recruit as many officers as they will allow us to have, and hopefully at some point have the conversation after our staffing study about how many officers we really need in the police department in order to serve the citizens here, community members here in Seattle in the way that they want.
Can you just tell me what the staffing study is?
Yeah, so we commission a staffing study to look at our patrol resources, how they are deployed, how they are managed. And so the staffing study is specifically about patrol. When you call 911, how many police officers do we need so that we can reduce the time you have to wait so that we can get a better service? And so they've just started that study. They've looked at one of the precincts as a pilot. They have the methodology down, and they'll have a report to me. Hopefully by the end of the fall, we can make some recommendations and see how many police officers we actually need. I think the answer is as many as we can get, but I'm sure the legislators, those who are in power, want a more significant number.
Yeah, is that from the state that's asking you to do that, or is that a city?
No, that was what we did here in the
gotcha.
department. It was started under interim Chief of Police Sue Rohr, and I, of course, supported that, and we have worked to make sure that that can happen.
Great. I think my last question, then I'll open up to you. I mean, as the Chief of Police here in Seattle, what weighs on you and what worries you?
Wow, it's a very good question. What really worries me is the sentiment right now from some community members regarding how they will be protected. Not only from people who may be in the community that could hurt them, but from the federal government. They worry about their day-to-day life. They worry about their neighbors. And I respect that. I respect a community that's worried about their neighbors, right? And I appreciate that. I think the community, they really want to hear from me. They want to know what am I going to do to protect them? And I think about how to articulate that in a way that they will believe. And people have told me that, certainly they believe me. They think I'm very genuine and authentic about that, because I am. Like, I really got into policing to help people. And when I think about that, it does bring a smile to my face, because I said that, some 25 years ago, and it rings true to me every day. That's my why. That's why I come to work every single day. That's why I make the decisions that I do. That's why I push people to be better than they think they can, push people to do a little bit more every single day, because that's what we have. We have really the trust and respect of the community in the palm of our hands, and what we do with it really, really matters.
Yeah. And are you referring to immigration enforcement?
I'm referring to immigration enforcement. I'm referring to the National Guard being deployed as it is to other cities. I'm deployed. I'm referring to people who they want to see government, not just the police, really work for them. And I understand that. And I think that we're certainly concerned about that. And I'm going to do everything I can to ensure that they see that happens.
Excellent. Anything else, Chief, that you'd like to add or that you want us to emphasize?
I just want to emphasize that, our department does have some constraints like most departments, but the men and women of the Seattle Police Department, both sworn and professional staff, they come to work every single day with the right mindset. And that mindset really is, what can we do? What can I do today? What can my team do to prevent crime and disorder in the community, in Seattle, while at the same time, what can I do to improve the satisfaction of police services? And that's what I ask everyone to do when they come to work, and so far, that's what I've been getting.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the way we have evolved and in our response to civil unrest, to protests, to demonstrations, is really impressive. From the May Day to what we saw at Cal Anderson, to the protests, counter-protest demonstrations, whatever the word may be, that we saw on August 30th, and how well that was handled, how the department really is evolving around that, how the consent decree and the mandates really have made a tremendous difference in how we approach things. I think really, really signals that this department is moving in the right direction. And it's really good also for the morale of the troops to see that, hey, we're having these demonstrations. This is a city of free speech, and I hope it will always remain that. I will do whatever I can to protect that. And the officers see that we had a good plan, we had good training, and things went well.